Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm here with Chip Wilson, entrepreneur in the technical apparel field. Welcome today, Chip.
Well, thanks for having me.
It's great to be with you today. I'd like to talk a little bit about happiness.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've done a lot. And the brand, like I said earlier, the brands, I had West Beach jackets when I was in high school. And I unknowingly tracked with you for a long time before I ever knew, as much about you as I do now. So you've had a lot of success and you've had a lot of challenges, obviously. So what, out of all of the success you've had, what has brought you the most happiness or the most, the greatest feeling, fulfillment, whatever that is?
Well, I mean, everyone who's successful says exactly the same thing, and it always comes down to family and friends. Probably family first, and again, enjoying family is not possible without great health. So then, if you kind of really look back at it, it's like taking care of my own personal self for my health and fitness, so that I have longevity and a space in my brain to really enjoy and love my family.
Yeah.
And then once that's taken care of, then it's my friends that support that.
Wow. Amazing. So what drives you to create wealth? Because you are creating wealth.
Yeah.
So what's the driving factor here?
Well, I know some people seem to be able to get up in the morning and come up with a business model that says, I'm going to produce this in order to sell that, to do this, because it's going to make me money. I mean, my brain doesn't work that way, and I actually have a hard time believing that super successful people can become successful without doing whatever they're doing for no money. Because I think the brain has to be on whatever the project is 24/7.
Yeah.
And especially the subconscious through the sleep of the night. So unless you super enjoy what it is that you're doing, and just seeing the fulfillment of an idea come to fruition in the public market with people actually buying into the idea that I want to see if it's real or not, I don't think we'll be successful. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
There's too much competition in the world for someone not to be passionate about what they're doing and have that subconscious brain working.
Right. Wow. So so I hear the phrase in pop culture, more money brings more problems.
Yeah.
Is it true?
It's very true.
Tell me how it's true.
Well, I'll give you an example. When I went to sell part of Lululemon, I mean, my wife and I, by that time, I was probably 50, and neither of us had any money in our life, So, I mean, so you kind of go, okay, well, these people are willing to offer me like, 150 million or something for part of the company. Oh my God, I never have to think about, and I don't have to, I can wake up in the morning and go, oh, all that pressure of 50 years is taken off my brain, and now I can probably get more creative about the business because I'm not thinking about survival. I'm thinking about the business. Shoot, now I forgot what the question was.
More money brings more problems.
Oh, yeah. So when I sold part of Lululemon, and then all of a sudden I've got this money, but I probably in reality needed about 10 million.
And how much did you get?
100, let's call it 150 Canadian. So then, because I needed to buy a house, I needed to, take care of my kids, some things that I hadn't, never had in my life because I just was, always scratching from the bottom. Then I went, okay, now I've got $140 million. What do I do with it? And I went, well, the only thing that I know can really make great money is I'll just put it back into Lululemon. And that was crazy because I just sold it. So suddenly, there's this whole business of like managing money. And the reality of it is if my whole brain power was just on Lululemon, I hadn't sold as much as I did, then that money would have been much better invested. And then there's the family office type of thing. And then because suddenly you've got money, so you've got like tax people, and you've got, and then you've got inheritance, and you've got I've got 5 boys, so then you got to go, how do I bring them up so that they can, like the wealth is there, but it's not defining who they are, and they become challenging, or they have a challenge in life, they become great great people. But I think it's more, what is it? Then I think society puts an amazing amount of expectations on a family like ours to be something. Suddenly we have
Like
to
something great.
Well, and I don't really fall into it. Like, it's this thing in life called should. Like I should do this because society and the left wing pundits say I should do something.
Yeah.
And as opposed to I want to do something.
Yeah.
And so then the want part really comes down to philanthropy, because what else am I going to do with it?
Right.
And whenever you sell large shares of stock when I have a base value of 0, the tax is massive. So the incentive to build a foundation and put money into a foundation to cut tax is becomes a big part of it. So now we have a foundation to run.
Right.
And that requires sometimes a board of directors and, and all that kind of stuff. And then, we started out like you're going to get to a real estate company. So then you have a real estate company. Well, then you have another board of directors, you have another CEO, you have pipeline issues and people, you have people leaving, people coming, it's like the same issues. And really it takes away, you think that money brings happiness, but it takes away simplicity in life. And actually, I've come to think that the happiest people in the world are those that really probably, and this is maybe a little sexist, but I think the man goes out and works, 40 hours a week, brings home like 70,000. They live in the suburbs. Money and time is tight all the time. You have 2 weeks of holidays. You grab the camper and you go out to the Okanagan and you go camping for a couple of weeks. You don't have the money to do anything except spend time with your wife and your children.
Right.
Everything's a little bit of a challenge, but things are okay.
Yeah.
It's it's certainly the life I was raised in. I get to see that versus the life that I have, and actually that's as much fun.
Really? Yeah.
The only thing money really buys is the ability to totally control time.
Right.
And I can buy time.
Can you flesh that out, explain that to us?
So when you start work in any company, you're the low man on the totem pole and you do everything. You're the gopher for everything. Then you get to be maybe 32, 33, and then you share an assistant with maybe 3 people. And then you get to be 40, you got a full-time assistant. Well, that assistant does everything for you that doesn't, like let's say they're getting paid $25 an hour. So you think that anything that I do where I can make more than $25 an hour, that goes to that assistant.
Yeah.
And that allows me to be more productive at work. Now, for an entrepreneur, you can say at work or at family.
Right.
And so then you start thinking, well, how much time do I spend in airports? And should I get a plane?
Yeah.
Should I get someone to drive for me because I go to the grouse grind, and that's like an hour and a half in a car a day. Well, if I pay someone $25 an hour, that's $50. That costs me there, but I can make $2,000 just in the emails and business I can do on my way there and back in an hour and a half.
Right.
So, that's the type of thinking that comes into play.
Wow.
Rather than buying 1 tube of toothpaste, you'll buy 10, so you don't have to go back again. You can afford inventory.
Right.
Things like that.
Wow, that's fascinating. So, at what point in your life do you say, that's enough money, I'm not going to invest anymore, I'm not going to start companies, I'm not going to bring on partnerships, I'm not going to go through acquisitions? When do you say this is it?
Well, I'd say it doesn't. I'd say for a man anyway, we only have really enough evidence of men because we're at a certain age where I think the women that we're talking about probably are only up to 45 now, when women really started coming into the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, question again?
When is enough enough?
Okay, so I think what we do know is that men die if they don't have a purpose in life. I think women have more intrinsically found their purpose in family and grandchildren, that type of thing in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Things are changing. for men, it's like if you go onto the golf course and you just die. It seems like the mind moving is really important. I also think that if there isn't forward momentum on business, you also die. Notwithstanding that you can put your money in with a wealth manager, get your 7% a year, get it, have them send you enough check to live on, and that's fine. But it's kind of like going golfing again. And I don't think it. I think that the long, part of longevity is purpose and keeping the growth and being in a business such that it drives to be in continuous learning. And I think continuous learning is also part of longevity. So probably still didn't answer the question.
So basically, I think what you're saying is money isn't the actual focus at all. When it's more that you're almost, not that you're keeping your sanity, but if you stop, you die.
Yeah, I think you do. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's fascinating. And I think if I look at, parents or friends' parents that have like legitimately retired, I mean, there seems to be a lot of problems that they go through with like, what am I now going to do? Where's my value? Who am I?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like you walk into a store and you buy something that really charges you. And it could even be a yacht, but it's good for like 20 days.
Yeah.
And then it's over. Right. So I think people retire with this like 40 years or feeling like, oh my God, I can't wait to retire. Yeah. And then they retire and they go, 20 days later, they go, okay, now what do I do?
Yeah.
And they haven't really thought it out because the love of the desire to have that 20 days is just floods the brain so much.
Yeah. Especially if that's been your focus, that pension, your whole life, that pension that probably is not going to be there.
Yeah. And people who've traded their life in for money.
Yeah.